We continue with our SEC coaching visits here. Bret Bielema, the head coach of Arkansas. And I got to be honest with you, Coach, it still seems weird to me to introduce you that way. I'm sure you've gotten used to it because that's actually your gig. SVP and Rosillo here with Danny Cannell today on ESPN Radio. What's it been like this entire trip? We talked to you at the very beginning. It was a surprise to everybody. Now it's been a few months getting ready for the year.
I think, Ron, it's everything I wanted it to be times 1,000. I mean, the people have been unbelievable. Our kids have been great. They've really bought into what we've been talking about, what we've been coaching. It's just been an overwhelming thing, and I can't wait for that first game to get here.
Everybody talks about, the SEC, the magnitude of that, what that means. Was there a moment this offseason when you were like, okay, this is what it's going to be like?
Danny, I think, to be quite honest, there was a lot of little buildups, but SEC Media Day last week was kind of just blew me away. 1,200 people on credentials. Kind of had a car wash theme there to it, too. They had you in for about 3 hours and rotated the coaches through, and to see the exposure and to see the things that began to happen on all the social media networks over the next 24 hours was pretty overwhelming.
Arkansas, the team you took over, 4-8 last year, but before that, 8-5, 10-3, 11-2 in 2011. They were preseason number 10 last year going in the air, and of course we know what happened with Bobby Petrino. How close is this team to being back in one of those teams where you can compete in SEC West and compete for SEC titles? Well,
when I took the job, it wasn't something I just thought about for 5 minutes and did. I was excited because I didn't think it was a rebuilding job. I thought here's a team that was ranked in the top 10 before the season started. They obviously hit a little bit of a speed bump and went 4-8. But when those seniors, I got 19 seniors. I got 19 seniors who aren't happy from last year. I got 19 seniors that have been told they're not going to be any good this year. I got 19 seniors who have worked as hard as any group I've ever been around, and that gives me a faith and a belief that things are going to be better than people think. But on the same side of it, the SEC and especially the West that we're in is among the worst or the most difficult schedules that you'll face in college football, and it's going to be a tough task.
Bret Bielema in studio with us right here on ESPN Radio. If there's one thing that I've learned throughout this business, especially with college football coaches, is it's your ability to survive, the survival instincts. So when you're going, I don't want to say going after the job, but when you're going through the process of figuring out if you want to be the next head coach at Arkansas, I imagine you have to tell them some things that they want to hear. Like, okay, this is not a total rebuild, but at the same time, I've noticed that coaches, when they do take that new gig over, they're not going to walk around and go, wow, I got more talent than anybody in the country, because if you go 6-6, then everybody points the finger at you. So how do you balance those things?
One of my favorite movies growing up was Walking Tall. Walk softly, carry a big stick, and just, kind of go about our business. I think our players know how much talent there is. I think we have a very gifted defensive line and offensive line, more than people think, and I'm a big believer in the big guys up front usually have a good indication of what's going to happen. I think we have a quarterback that has a tremendous amount of upside. I think we got a really good group of coaches. As a head coach, you never know where you're going to end up at the end of the year, but you can have these indicators. You have a belief in what you see on a daily basis. You know your staff. You know what they're capable of doing. And for that reason, I'm excited. And where we're going to end up, I don't know, but we're going to take it one day at a time and let the best man win.
How has the transition gone from Arkansas being a traditionally last 4 or 5 years, traditionally pass-happy offense, to your background, which is more offensive line? We're going to grind it out, have a strong running game. How has that transition been playing out?
Dan, it's probably been a lot smoother than I thought. I really didn't know coming in. Obviously, they like to throw the ball and do it as fast as they could in years past, but the kids have bought into it. I think the one thing that we can kind of sell is we do what the NFL does. We're going to take our time in the huddle. We're going to come to the line of scrimmage. We're going to line up and have a fullback and a tailback in the background, and might have 2 receivers and get real creative and have 3 receivers on the field at any given time. But I think that our kids have bought into it. Obviously, as we grow as coaches there, we'll get more and more players that fit what we want. But I couldn't be more pleased with the group of guys that I have in Fayetteville right now.
No, one of the things when you mention a quarterback, you feel like you have some promise there. It's also thin, though. I mean, you had a transfer, so it's going to be Brandon Allen, I assume, here. And do you know who everybody is after him?
Ryan, Brandon Allen really took the forefront. I mean, that's why I believe that, I felt comfortable in asking Brandon Mitchell to move on. It was just a better scenario for Brandon Allen to walk in and know he's the guy. A.J. Derby's going to be behind him. We have a couple other guys that are, including 2 freshmen, and Austin Allen, Brandon Allen's brother. I've never really had that before where 2 brothers are competing for the same spot. At least you only got one mom mad at you, I guess is the other way to look at it. But I think, the competition brings the best out of people. Austin's earned it, but we got some guys that are going to continue to work and get it.
One of the areas I think you do have to kind of change the culture is on the defensive side of the ball, because they've had such strong offenses. You brought Chris Ash with you as your defensive coordinator. How is the defensive side of the ball looking?
It's been fun because I think these kids, when we got there, we told them right away, hey, we're going to keep it simple. We want you to play fast. We want you to play aggressive. We want you to play physical. We're not going to cloud your mind with a bunch of calls or terminology or things you don't need to know. We're We're going to inform you of what you can do to execute winning football. Those defensive players went through 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. And it's one thing to replace a head coach, but that's a whole new scheme. That's a whole new playbook. That's a whole new way of doing things. And we told those kids, hey, we're here to stay here. Please buy into what we're doing. And it's been a train that's been headed in the right direction ever since we've been there.
It's not just geographical battles anymore. They're philosophical battles in college football. And it seems that if you say, hey, I like the old style, then everybody complains that you're just complaining about the new way of spread offenses. So what are we going to do to get all you guys to get along on this one?
Well, I don't think we're all going to get along very often. I think there's recruiting, there's ideology, there's for me, I love the type of offense that we're going to run. It's proven to have success. I tell you the thing I really enjoy.
Same stuff at Wisconsin.
The same stuff. I mean, it's not going to be a cookie cutter to what we did, but we're gonna huddle. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna be methodical. We're gonna want to create first downs. We'll take a big play when they happen, but we're gonna move the chains, get in the red zone. When we get in the red zone, we're gonna we don't want to kick field goals. We want to score touchdowns. We don't want to penalize ourselves before the snap. We're gonna do things that make us play clean. We've been one of the least penalized teams in college football during my time at Wisconsin for a reason. We train that way. We coach our kids that way. But controversy doesn't scare me. I think anytime you talked about it, it's going to help promote your program. I realize when I say one thing, you're going to upset half the world anyway. So I guess the key is to keep moving and keep on pace.
Well, I know that this year, in your first year down in the SEC, it's funny because we always talk about teams and going, oh, this guy has to be this kind of guy. Like you have to be – like Mac Brown somehow became a Texan once they were successful.
Yeah.
I mean, people seem to think that Nick Saban was born in Tuscaloosa, and that's not quite the case. So I think it's going to be kind of fun to watch you down there and prove, if successful, and I would imagine when successful, that it doesn't have to be a guy from just down the street to win in the SEC.
No, I think as you look around the SEC, Les, Nick, different coaches that have had success in that league have had some Big Ten Midwest backgrounds, and I'm excited. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an Arkansas native and have been buying into it every day. We're calling the Hogs every other day and having some fun with that. So it's been fun to embrace. I tell you, I've been all over the state. The neat thing about Arkansas is it's Arkansas. There's no pro football, baseball, basketball. There's no other BCS level school. There's definitely no other SEC team really, in the region. Obviously in Texas, you have Texas, but the only SEC team is A&M. So you got a little bit of a niche, and we're really trying in recruiting to head into that state of Texas and do well.
Thanks for the visit, Coach.
Appreciate it very much. Go Hogs.